Well, I think the results is not fair. I think we produced the double of expected goals than the opponent today, and we need to capitalize those chances. And some of the situations that we had in attack that are not expected goals. That didn't make the right decision or didn't execute well. Is something that we have to do better. But to be honest, we are demanding a lot of this group of guys that are playing every 3 days. They are exhausted in some moments physically. You can see that. And they are just responding every single time. Every time that something doesn't go in our way, they just respond because think about that. Think about starting with this unlucky own goal, right? And then if you analyze, besides the goals against Casey, some of the goals that we have conceded lately are like a joke, and is something that sometimes in the sports you need to have this lag, right? You need to look for the lag, but you have to find it.
Well, that was FC Dallas head coach Nico Estévez after the game on Saturday night as FC Dallas drops a home match 2-1 to visiting Nashville SC. We're going to talk about that tonight. Welcome everyone to Afterburn Soccer. I'm your host. You can find me Nathan Hill at Nathan J. Hill on Twitter for now. Twitter seems to be circling the drain. I don't know what's going on. And my buddy Jose Carmona at El Chico Carmona.
Hello.
And we invite those of you watching, finding us to chime in with your comments or questions as we talk about both FC Dallas and North Texas. It was a mixed bag weekend then because while a mixed bag really week. I mean, FC Dallas, 2 losses in a row now. A disappointing loss at Kansas City and then back home against Nashville. Red hot Nashville, by the way, with one of the best strikers in the league right now. Gosh, he's good. But North Texas, 2-0 victory over Los Angeles Galaxy 2. We'll talk about that. So that ends the weekend on a little bit of a positive note for us to dissect. But let's just jump right into FC Dallas and commiserate a little bit about where this team is. And you know, you could hear the exhaustion in Nico's comments there in that post game. He's tired, and it's hard, I think, in this position as a coach for him to go hard on his players when the team is banged up. It's not your first choice 11 out there. You're putting Nolan Norris, a youngster, at 6. He makes a mistake, an own goal, which gives Nashville the early lead. FC Dallas comes back and ties it up on a great sequence to Hyder Obrian. But then Hani Mukhtar just does the business on Jose Martinez and slots it past Martin Pass. And then FC Dallas is not able to find that next equalizer, even though they generate plenty of chances. It was just a tough match for a team that you could tell is exhausted, banged up. Nico's been on this thing about this, we've been unlucky. And I agree with him, having watched enough soccer to know that sometimes you can be the better team and the bounces don't go your way. But when it does become sort of this run of games where there's a lot of lack of luck, then you start to wonder if there's not a jolt of fresh legs or a new face needed, shake up a little bit. But Jose, what were your thoughts about that game against Nashville?
Well, like Nico said, just unlucky. In all honesty, and not just in the match. Mind you, you're facing off against a red-hot team who comes in and didn't have to play midweek like Dallas did. So not only do they come in red-hot, but they come in rested. And against, they had to be licking their chops. They have a team who played midweek and is banged up and is missing multiple starters and is forced to start several reserves in spots that in key spots, and then the people that they're subbing in been in aren't necessarily 100% either. So it's a concern, the mounting injuries and the fact that the team is now basically on a losing tear. And while I'm trying not to get too down on the team, they're still in fourth place, mind you. For all of the bad luck that they've had,
Hmm.
that's one thing that hasn't gone against them. The question is, how long can they keep this up? How long can how much of a cushion do they have before they start dropping in the standings? I mean, it's it's a concern. It's an understandable concern, though. It's just tough to watch. The one bright side is that the kids are getting minutes. This is valuable uh, playing time for certain players, and it will hopefully pay off in the long term. That's the one bright spot we can take out of this.
Right, Herbert Indele getting his first MLS
First,
start.
I'm going to start.
What a rise from that.
Norris with his second consecutive
Norris with his
start.
second. And I don't think he's going to start. But it'll be interesting to see what juggles with this Wednesday night game and even the weekend. But no, Norris, it's hard to be really harsh on him. He gave up. In fact, I asked Nico about this today. I didn't pull that clip up, but just how do you handle that with a young guy? But Nico was pretty complimentary of Nolan's performance. Yeah, the own goal was unlucky. It could have gone anywhere. That happens. It happens to the best defenders in the world. It happens. So you move on from that. Nolan, had another yellow card in this one and stuff, but he sort of hung in there. He did his part, in a really tough situation when the team doesn't have many other guys to turn to, especially with Edwin Cerrillo out on yellow card accumulation. So, it'll be nice to have Edwin back. Nolan probably is an option off the bench then, but
Agreed.
yeah. The other little nugget that's come out of these games is that Facundo Quignon, I thought he had quietly on Saturday one of his stronger games influentially in FCS, because I believe he started the attack that led to the Hyder's goal. That he had a really nice pass out to the left wing that started that sequence.
That whole chain, yeah,
Right.
chain of events, yes.
And that question came up was like, hey, you've used this guy a lot, and yet it seems like he is really freer in a double pivot when there's someone next to him to be more creative, to push forward, to be more of an influence on the game. And Nico acknowledged in the media availability today that, maybe we coaches make mistakes, that we overlook these qualities of players, and that Facundo is very influential on Saturday. So that's a positive out of this tough stretch. And to say that, because Facundo has been a guy with a mercurial reputation, the FC Dallas fans, that he's been fine at times. He's been solid. And at times he's also been a little, not up to his salary tag, perhaps. We've expected a bit more. So to see a strong performance, I think we could take that as a positive.
Yeah, but I think what we're starting to see is something that we all kind of suspected, was that not just Quignon but Cerrillo, they both work better in a double pivot, with two defensive mids instead of one. If you start one or the other, they each have weaknesses, and weaknesses that will either hold you back or that the opposing team can target. But when you have them both together, they kind of complement each other's strengths and weaknesses. And so that's the question, though: is it better to have both of them, or have, when healthy, the Jet and Pamikal pairing, because that's what you're sacrificing. You're either going with a single six and having Pamicol and the Jet together, or you're going with the double sixes, and then you're going to have one only like a 10 basically. Um, but still, I think this is good to know now. This will hopefully help the team going forward because now I think it'll give Nico that option, of saying, hey, we're playing. So there's going to be some matches on the road where we are better suited to playing a more defensive style, and maybe playing Cirio and Quignon starting on the road may become a regular thing. And then, of course, at home, you then would start Leggett and Pomicall when healthy and either choose Quignon or Cirio. So I think the fact that they've proved that they can play well together will make it to allow the team to sort of rotate a little in the midfield, which we've seen a lot of injuries. Looks like it's going to be a necessary thing going forward. And the fact that Norris has come in and given solid minutes, I think he's proven that he can be an option off the bench as a sub and give you quality minutes going forward. And I mean, I think long term, provided the team gets healthy, it's something the team's learning, and hopefully they can make a run sooner or later.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was asked today of Nico, kind of the availability of the squad injury wise, and he was pretty direct and to the point that it's not going to be at least until the Austin FC match where we see maybe Paul Areola and Sebastian available. Paxton looks like a little bit longer term from that, and Siki as well. So there's not going to be any imminent good news, and yet it's so the team's going to have to dig in for a couple of more matches before they can expect some reinforcements and some fresh legs. So we're going to see probably more of some of these younger guys get minutes and get an opportunity to show why they deserve more.
Yeah, but even if it's just, let's just say we just get Leggett and Areola back, even that helps a ton because now at least you have some options because you can then start Velasco at the 10 spot if need be, and you can have O'Brien and Paul on the wings, or you could start Leggett. You could start Leggett and Velasco in the middle. It gives you the ability to do some things that it's better than what we have right now as far as options, because right now the lineups are kind of being forced. You're very thin at midfield, so you got to give Norris minutes there. You got to give Velasco minutes there. I mean, you're uh, it's just a tough spot, and just having one midfielder back, and I think Areola could probably play centrally too if needed. So I think just having a little bit of an option is better than no options at all.
Well, we can also give some praise to Haider O'Brien, who has almost kind of been in the doghouse to start the season, and even going into last season, it just felt like I think you've said it before, Jose. He's a useful piece on this roster. He's a speedster. He's not costing a lot of a salary cap situation. But even that said, there's been moments where we kind of wish that we had a little bit more. But in this, and it goes to, this is how soccer players are. You give them a run of minutes, it lets them get into form, get into rhythm, and get some positive things going. And so he's had 2 goals, I think 1 assist in these last 3 games. So kudos to him for strong performance, for showing up at a time when the team really needed someone like him to step up a bit.
I think he's just proven his value as a key rotation piece going forward. I mean, let's face it, winger depth has been an issue for us, continues to be. But once everyone gets healthy, it'll be nice to have someone like O'Brien who can come in and give Areola or Velasco, times to rest. So, excuse me. So I think maybe I'm in the minority in this, but I think I've seen enough from O'Brien to say, I would be okay if they bring him back next year. Where at the beginning of the year, the first month or so, I was like, we need to have Kamungo or somebody beat him out. But no, I think he's proven that, hey, he's a serviceable player. We'd rather have an informed Areola starting, but that's not happening. So an informed Orbrian is better than nothing. I mean, he's outplaying Velasco, who still doesn't look 100%, and I mean, I think that's just a lot. So
Mhm.
kudos to him for stepping up his game and showing that he's not just a waste of cap money.
Well, I did ask today, Nico, kind of about the motivation going into this game on Wednesday against St. Louis, who are in great form, but again, it's just a weird game. So both teams are going to have to decide how to address it. But I think for FC Dallas, the motivation's obviously there. Like, hey, we weren't happy with how we played against Nashville. We know we can do a little bit better than that. We know we can clean up the mistakes. So here's a chance for us to go back, get one goal, clamp down on the game, and get 3 points, and sort of, then go and worry about Portland at Portland, which you can, I'm already thinking that Nico may even really rotate the squad against Portland and just say, hey, let's take our chances up there, But we'll see how it goes. Let's listen to Nico answer when I asked him about the motivation for this match.
We have a lot of motivation for this game because, to be honest, we've been playing better than our opponent in the last 3 games, creating much more chances than our opponent, and we are not having the lack or in our side, because if you analyze some of the goals that we concede or some of the goals that even San Luis score lately, we don't have that yet. It's not in our way, and then we'll have to be proactive to change that narrative and see that we have the luck with us, and we can score the goals that we create. I don't think it's a special motivation. I think it's just a game where winning, it put us in a great position with 26 points. And I think the players know that, and they know that it is a really, really good chance to step on the points, that we have right now, and put us closer to the teams at the top.
Motivation. I mean, that's why I just said. I think in these past 2 media calls with Nico, he looks a little exhausted, but I think the team is feeling that, and it has just been a packed May and June, and so it makes sense. And I know for him as a coach to be able to have to go into game plan and see your guys who are tired, who need a break, but you got to turn to them because there's not any other options. It's not fun to be a coach in that situation. And he's not alone. Other coaches have been there. But, yeah, on the other hand, the team is still in a good position. I think Wednesday it's going to be a good opportunity for this team just to grab that goal, close things out, and kind of turn the page a little bit.
It's going to be an interesting game simply for the fact of how short it's going to be. So it allows both teams to play harder than they normally would. And so the team that the coach that can get his teams fired up and motivated to come out firing all cylinders, that's likely who's going to get the points. I mean, St. Louis comes in being ahead of Dallas. So I think it's an important match because let's face it, you're chasing them and handing them an L and getting 3 points on them. That puts you a step closer to jumping up from 4th to 3rd, because let's face it, that's where the race is. Even Seattle isn't playing all that great. So really, there's a spot for a team behind LAFC. And right now, the 3 teams battling it out are, I mean, I know FC Dallas hasn't been doing so well lately, but that's all injuries and the glut of games that they've got. So yes, this is a very important game. They got to figure out a way to come out, and I think they will get a bit of luck in this game. One, it's a short game, so it's not gonna be like some of the other midweek games. Also, I don't. St. Louis, in my opinion, is not a very deep team, and they played. They're playing on a short week also, so they're not going to have the advantage that Nashville had when they came in. Having the whole week, plenty of time to rest, plenty of time to prepare, and St. Louis won't have that. And I think this will be. I think there's a little bit of luck shining on FC Dallas this Wednesday, and hopefully they can make it pay off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be an interesting week just to see how Nico handles this, how the team handles it. But yeah, it's gonna be a really weird match. So there's just a lot of uncertainty about it. Well, let's go ahead and turn over to North Texas. Meanwhile, and before we get there, of course, the other downer of the result was that the U.S. U20s crashed out in quarterfinals. Congratulations to them for reaching quarterfinals, but and they hadn't given up a goal yet, and then quickly they gave up a goal. A big mistake from Justin Che going to ground, and to a cross, and then to a kind of pretty easy shot on goal for Uruguay, and then a own goal in the second half that kind of sealed the deal for them. So a disappointment, but that does mean Antonio Carrera comes back for North Texas. It still keeps that question mark open. Did Justin Che do enough to impress some second-tier team or something that may want to take him on loan or figure out some deal or make a purchase option for him? We just don't know yet. We'll be waiting to see.
Well, my opinion in Che. I'm not like other FC Dallas fans. I think he's a talent. I think there's minutes to be had for him in this squad. I mean, that's the other thing. If when does he join the team? I mean, if he joins them sooner than later, that's good for us. We need depth, and I think he can provide quality minutes for this team. The problem with Che, the question with Che, the problem that everybody has with him is, does he even want to be in Dallas? Honestly, that's the only negative on the kid. Talent-wise, I mean, I think he's one of these guys. He's a guy that can play anywhere in the back line. You can play him on the wings. He's just a talented player who you can slot anywhere, and he'll give you quality minutes. The question is, like I said, that we all have is, does he even want to be here? Because that's at the end of the day, that's what I think has FC Dallas fans down on him coming back. It's like, do you really want a player out there? I don't care how talented they are. If they don't want to be here, are they going to give 100%? And I would say yes. I think Che is professional enough to realize that he asked for a shot. He was given a shot. He didn't make it. But that just means you got to come back and prove that you deserve another shot. So I hope the team finds him a loan if he doesn't want to come back. But I hope they also make him understand that, say, hey, if we couldn't find you a loan, we want you to play for us hard and show other teams why they deserve to give you show them your worth. So we'll give you the minutes if you earn them, but we're not going to hand them to you. So you're here, you're going to fight and show that fight. And I think Che helps his team. This team has got it. It's that's simple as that. I think he can come in and give us quality minutes.
I mean, FC Dallas started Ibiaga at right back in this one.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. I mean, Che's here. That's Che starting at right back. Mm-hmm. And I know some guys are like, well, this and that. I know we all think that Giovanni Jesus is going to get bought, but he hasn't been bought. He's just a player on loan. There is no guarantee that FC Dallas will buy him, as much as some of us like him. I know I like him a lot. I think he's got a lot of potential. But, the injuries have highlighted some of his deficiencies, especially on defense of late. And like I said, there's no guarantee that FC Dallas will buy him. If you got Justin Che and he proves he can play at right back, and Colin Smith looks to be making that step.
Giovanni Jesus, FC Dallas did purchase him.
Oh, so they did officially purchase him? I must have missed that. So There you go. I missed that. So if that's the case, all right. I thought it was loan with
2026. So the 2026. Yep. I mean, that's what they've done in the past, and so I think this time they did purchase him. So
Okay, well then that's great, great. But I'm saying there's Justin Shea. I think he'll compete wherever they want him, and I think all the injuries have proven that. It'd be nice to have a player that can slot in at right back, left back,
Or that
center
that
back,
right center back in a five two
that you
two, right?
that you can slot in on the wing. And before people roll their eyes at me, Hunqua was asked to play on the left wing, so that's it's not out of the question that someone like Che would be slotted in the wing
Sure.
if needed because we've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just think he's a talented player, and I hope he finds a loan spell, and if he doesn't, I hope he comes back and proves that he deserves the minutes. I know people forget that he played significant minutes for FC Dallas when he was here at right back, and I thought he did well. I thought he did well when he was here. I don't recall him doing badly or showing poor body language or any of that nonsense when he was here. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see him back, and I'm kind of excited to see what Dante Sealy has to offer when he returns too. Um, Simply because it's a place of need depth wise right now.
Yeah.
So having another body to compete to train right now with all the injuries, uh, these guys may not. I mean, in the end, they may not be starters or guys that become significant rotation pieces, but at this time, with all the injuries, they are needed bodies for training that will definitely allow us to rest some other people at the least.
Mm-hmm. Well, shifting back, let's just shift back to North Texas because that Justin Che question will resolve itself in time. I know
Yes,
we'll
true.
just see. We're going to see what comes out of it. But yeah, North Texas with a 2-0 home victory against Los Angeles Galaxy 2. It was Anthony Ramirez, his first goal, first professional goal. Another
And
FC
then
Dallas Academy kid. Thomas
another
Pondeca.
highly thought of, yeah.
Yeah. And Thomas Pondeca, who we did a nice feature of on Afterburn.soccer much earlier in the season. An interesting guy. He kind of finally came through a bit on some of his potential attacking promise and served up. Was involved in both goals as well as Jose Mulatto. So just a good all-around game for North Texas after having the series of games where either they go down 2-0 in a hole and then fight back for a draw, or they go up 2-0 and then end up giving up goals and sloppy situations and have to settle for a draw. But so here's the thing: North Texas now all of a sudden is a 6-game streak, a winless
Yeah.
streak. They have a lot of draws in there, but they haven't lost a match. And then I
So
said that wrong. Not
you said
winless.
winless.
That's not right.
Undefeated.
That's right. Yeah, it's a 6-game undefeated streak. Sorry about that. And then get a win at home, which sort of I think helps them maybe put away some of those, just the mixed feelings they've had of some of the disappointing results and disappointing plays that kind of spoiled them a bit over these past few weeks. So we saw Julian Eystone get another clean sheet, a much more solid defensive setup. So let's go ahead. I only have audio since we didn't do a media call, but I was able to get a question to Javi. Let's listen to Javi's audio here.
All right, the first question I have for you was this a pretty close to complete game for your team and a clean sheet and multiple goals? And how do you want your squad to build off of this performance?
Yeah, I mean today we came to the mentality just we need to compete and try to take advantage of their mistakes. You know, in the first half we were running a lot, and on the halftime we modified a little bit. We just talk what we need to improve, and thanks for that we scored the 2 goals. You know, like we were saying, like close lines, close distance, and the first goal I think was a counter attack, and we taking from this. The second we were focusing on like how many services we made from the side, and the second goal was coming from this. So like this was our big thing, and from this we need to learn, like sometimes the ball could be for the opponent, and we need to be well organized. You know, being organized, not committing mistakes at the end. In this league, players are so young, you know, and they want to commit mistakes. So if we avoid them avoid it and we take these advantages, we want to win a lot of points this year.
All right, next question.
If they take advantage of those situations, they'll win a lot of points this year. And really, looking at where North Texas is in the standings, and I had pulled it up earlier, but they're in a good spot to make a run. To be in contention. Coming down the stretch here. I can't pull it up.
They're fifth, actually.
Fifth.
They're fifth, but I think they're sixth if you go by points per game. They've got more games played than everybody else. So they're fifth, but technically I think they're sixth in points per game. And like I said, they got like 13 games played while everybody else has like 11. So they got games in hand, which is not necessarily a good thing. But like you said, they're undefeated in their last 6. Excuse me. The change that I've noticed, that an adjustment that has been made, and at least if I remember correctly, is one of the biggest concerns at the start of the season is that all the foreign loans and signings hadn't really performed up to the standards of North Texas previous signings. So I know a lot of people were complaining about how the signings have been poor this year, or had been performed poorly. But I think the team in the past couple of weeks has started leaning more on the academy kids. You're starting to see, Ramirez and Nairobi, and you're starting to see these kids get key minutes, and you've seen a turnaround in the way the team's playing. That defense is the main Achilles heel, of course. It has, they've allowed 22 goals this season and they've scored 21. So I mean, when you're -1 on goal differential, I mean, to be fifth place in the West, that's quite an accomplishment. But it's those goals when they're given up, they come in bunches. So it's like one mistake, and suddenly you have multiple mistakes happening. So I think it's a sign that the team may be panicking, or was panicking, and now maybe they're getting more comfortable. It's a process, and I think the team's doing great. In all honesty, I can't complain about where they are. I like their stretch coming up, by the way, which I'm going to bring up. They play against Portland in their next game on the 10th. That's a winnable game. I mean, that's a game that honestly, the next 3 games that they have are games that they can get points from. Portland's just not a good team, and I would be shocked if North Texas doesn't come back from that road match with at least a point or 2, against Portland. And I wouldn't be stunned if I would expect 3, but it is a young team. So then they host San Jose, a tough team, but again, it's a home match, so every chance that they can come up points with that. And then the game after that will be Sporting Kansas City. Not a strong team, not a bad team. They're a pretty average team. They're probably at the same level that North Texas is right now in performance wise. They're like a 500 team. So again, another game where there should be matched evenly, even on the road, and there's nothing stopping them from coming back with a point minimum against San Jose. And then of course after that, hosting LAFC in North Texas. So the next 4 matches, there's nothing to prevent North Texas from keeping this unbeaten run. I'm not saying they're going to win all 4 games, but I'm saying there's nothing to say they can't get, draw, win, something along those lines. And that's all they need to do. As long as they stay where they're at and keep. I think the problem that they had in the first 2 months of the season is they were unable to hold on for draws. They were out and out losing. And now you're seeing the team kind of grow, and those out and out losses are now becoming draws. Mm-hmm. So that's where the improvement has happened in this team. This team hasn't fixed all the holes in the ship, but they're not trading as much water as they were before, and it's starting to show. It's starting to show that this team is starting to gel, and I think Coach Cano's starting to find out which players he wants can perform better in certain places. You're starting to see other players pick up their play, like Pondeka. It seems to be figuring out how he fits into the team, and that's just it. Is I think this team will be a solid team. They'll be right in the middle of the playoff hunt, and we'll find out next month. I expect them to, like I said, I expect them to have a shot to continue an unbeaten run. And if they do that in the next 4 matches, we'll be a much better play after this month is after the month is over.
Good stuff. I mean, I realize how much I enjoy watching North Texas play, and I encourage other folks who are following FC Dallas to give them a try. I mean, if I still lived in Dallas, that Choctaw Stadium would be a closer trip sometimes than Frisco. But it's fun to see those guys because they're just playing for an opportunity. They're hungry. They're young. They're making mistakes, sure, but they're growing up right in front of you. So it's exciting to see these young guys, and you never know when you could say, well, I remember them when, they, because the sky's the limit. Some of these guys, the talent, and they're proving it, on the pitch.
Just the last 2 FCD games have kind of shown you why you should pay attention to North Texas and at least check them out, because players that have played minutes with North Texas this year or at the end of last season that saw minutes, even starts for FC Dallas in this last 2 games. You're talking about Colin Smith, Norris, Andele, Kamungo, Mulatto. That's just 5 that I can think off the top of my head that saw significant minutes in the last 2 games for FC Dallas. And it just shows you that North Texas, regardless of what you think of the league they're playing in, continues to provide future players for the senior team. And that's something you can be excited about. And definitely why you should watch them. I mean, I know I usually watch them after FC Dallas has a draw or a loss, and they're my pickup. It's like because they usually play on Sundays, so it's like, come on, it's like give me something to at least finish the week on a bright spot, and they did this weekend. So, and they play a fun fun brand of soccer. So, I think it's a very exciting team to watch. And yeah, the results haven't come their way, but that has more to do with that leaky defense, and they seem to be figuring out how to at least get it under control. And the goals will come. This team has enough firepower to keep it up, to keep their current run going right now.
Well, good stuff. Well, let's close the show tonight with just this quick Wednesday night prediction. I mean, I don't know. Are you ready to make a prediction, Jose? What do you think? What do you
1-0.
think?
1-0 FC Dallas.
Right.
They're gonna find a way. They're gonna find a way to come out on fire, get a goal in, and then Nico's gonna say, "All right, just shut it down, kill the game." I think so. I think it's gonna be a nervy game. Don't get me wrong. It's gonna be 1-0, but I think it's gonna be. Like I said, with that short of time, my goodness, it could be a wild 40 minutes.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think a 1-0. I think FC Dallas comes out. They just grab some kind of goal, and maybe not be a pretty goal, and then may even sub out Jesus. May sub out some guys. We're going to give you guys a rest, and just going to throw out as many defenders as we can. And see if we can't see this thing out. So,
well, it depends on if they have any substitutions left. I mean, 3 of the players that started the match against St. Louis will not be there. You're talking Ariola, the Jet, and Tuamasi. So, no, Tuamasi didn't start. I think Jesus.
I'm not sure it's going to be.
I'm fairly sure Giovanni Jesus started that match. So no, it was 3. It was Paxton, Legend, and Ariola.
Paxton.
Those 3 guys. So you have to replace them, and are you gonna be forced to use your subs for those 3 players? Is the one thing I'm curious to find out, because if that happens, That leaves you with 2 subs for the rest
Yeah,
of the
do
40
they
minutes.
still have like their 3 sub windows or whatever? Yeah, that's gonna be
amusing because that'll determine how much FC Dallas can do.
Well, good. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. I'm going with a 1-0 win as well. I just think it's that kind of thing. We'll just take what we can get, and St. Louis may be willing also to say, hey, let's just go home without any injuries here. This is a weird situation, but thanks everyone for joining us. Of course, we'll be posting the audio, and hope you subscribe and like and share, and of course follow us at afterburn.soccer. Thanks everyone. Have a good night.
Have a good night.